Hello, I'm Joseph Giunta, the music director and conductor of the Des Moines Symphony, welcoming you to this special edition of the DMSO Listening Room, dedicated to the historic first live stream concert of the Des Moines Symphony. I am very proud of the creative spirit of our staff and musicians to be able to share some great music through the use of technology. We are especially grateful to give you, our valued audience, the opportunity to experience some music that may not appear on a masterwork program that you may attend in the Civic Center. I have planned music that includes a wide variety of styles with special attention to underrepresented and minority composers right next to famous and familiar ones. The works performed will include various combinations of players that will show off the versatility of our musicians. And thanks to all of our ticket holders for your patience during this time as we continue to work our way through all the uncertainty and challenges that lie ahead for us. Our team is deeply committed to performing for you, our loyal and dedicated audience. And allow me to take a moment to welcome any new listeners that may be hearing members of the Des Moines Symphony for the first time. We especially hope you enjoy this program and come back to hear us on a regular basis. Our very first live stream concert in the Des Moines Symphony's 83rd season begins appropriately with the music of Johann Sebastian Bach, one of the great geniuses of all time. Picasso, Shakespeare, Voltaire, and Beethoven, amongst others, are all members of this exclusive club. Through their art and literature, they changed the world. Now, for much of Bach's life, he wrote music for the Lutheran Church. He was a master of counterpoint and fugue and harmony, rhythm and form. He made remarkable advances in all of these areas and left us with some of the most beautiful music of all time. His 6 Brandenburg concertos were written between 1708 and 1721 for Christian Ludwig, Margrave of Brandenburg, whom he dedicated the pieces to. They were commissioned by the Margrave, but were also somewhat of a job application since Bach was looking for work at the time. However, the Margrave never paid Bach for them or even funded live performances of them for reasons that we just don't know. Each of these 6 Brandenburg concertos have different orchestrations. The third is for strings and harpsichord. In this piece, he displayed his love for the Italian Concerto Grosso, which was so popular in Italy. It was used prolifically by their finest composers, including Vivaldi, Torelli, and Corelli. Now, a Concerto Grosso nearly always includes a solo instrument or a combination of solo instruments. And a larger ensemble, Bach's innovative approach was to add more players to the solo groups, with the option of having solos, quartets, or even solo sections, where 3 or more players play each part, weaving sort of in and out like a friendly competition trying to be heard. This variety allows for a kaleidoscopic range of colors and style and was quite advanced for its time. There's also an apotheosis of rhythm in the entire piece, a forward momentum that engages us. The first movement, dance-like in cut time, gallops throughout the different sections of the orchestra in dazzling ways. And the last movement, a gigue, is full of bravura and joy. Next is Debussy's elegant and mesmerizing sacred and profane dances for strings and harp. Aaron Brooker Miller, principal harpist of the Des Moines Symphony, is our soloist. Now, Claude Debussy lived most of his life in Paris, from 1862 to 1918. He witnessed the City of Lights become known as the leading city of music, surpassing Vienna. Up until 1870, only one French composer, Hector Berlioz, was able to create a body of important works that rivaled the vast German and Austrian music of Beethoven and Haydn, Mozart, Schubert, Brahms, and Wagner. But as the art world discovered the Impressionism of Degas, Monet, and Renoir, French music came of age with Ravel, Debussy, César Franck, Bizet, Ernst Chausson, Gabriela Fauré, and many others. Paris became known throughout the world for its forward-thinking and innovation rather than its traditions. And this created an energetic environment for artists, and their creativity thrived. Debussy's dances were written in 1904 and commissioned by the instrument building company Pleyel, who had just designed a new harp and wanted something that would show off its many qualities. There are two sections fused together to make one movement. The first section, tranquil, chant-like, and reflective, is contrasted by the second, which is somewhat religious in nature and sounds mysterious, like someone reciting a distant prayer. I especially look forward to working with Erin once again. She brings a unique quality to her artistry and continues to bring great joy to all of us fortunate enough to hear her. Next, we'll play a piece written by living American composer Gabriela Lena Frank. Her music draws from her multicultural background, especially her mother's Peruvian influence. She has music degrees from Stanford University and the University of Michigan. Her music has been played all over the world by such renowned groups as the Kronos Quartet, Yo-Yo Ma and the Silk Road Project, and the orchestras of Houston, San Francisco, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, and many more. Her Leyendas, an Andean walkabout, was originally written for string quartet in 2001 and expanded to string orchestra in 2008. The piece draws inspiration from the Peruvian mestizaje, meaning where all cultures can coexist without the subjugation of one by the other. The piece balances elements of Western classical music with Andean folk music traditions. The first movement, Toyos, depicts the most popular instrument of the Andes, the panpipe. The largest kind, called toyo, takes a huge amount of breath to make sound, similar to the tuba. It often plays in parallel fourths or fifths. Gabriela has scored this for the viola. The next movement, Tarquieda, is a fast dance movement featuring the tarka, a heavy wooden duct flute that is blown harshly in order to split the tone into fourths and fifths. She scored this in the solo violin. Himno de Zamponas features a panpipe ensemble. Now these instruments are blown flatly so that overtones ring out on the top, which you can hear on the double stops of the violins. Chasqui, a runner, is a legendary figure from the Inca period. He sprinted great distances to deliver messages from one village to another. The music of this movement is fast and fleeting. And finally, Cocoteos is a flirtatious love song sung by gallant men known as the Romanceros. The music reflects this in a bold and festive and uplifting sounds. Hungarian composer Béla Bartók is considered one of the most important 20th century composers. Much of his music is inspired by folk music. Between 1909 and 1915, he took numerous trips to the Transylvania region of Romania, where he recorded numerous folk songs that he heard children singing while taking his daily walks. He found Romanian music more interesting than Hungarian music. He was taken by the timbres of the local instruments such as the guitar, violin, peasant flute, and bagpipes. These sounds challenged his mind and inspired him to include many of these elements in his music. The Romanian folk dances are rich in harmony. He preserved much of the melodies and rhythms. However, he significantly changed the tempos. The slow dances he made even slower, and the fast dances much faster, which he felt gave them more individual character. The 6 short movements begin with stick dance, which Bartók recorded from 2 gypsy violinists. Next is a sash dance, which Bartók originally heard on the peasant flute. The 3rd movement, called In One Spot, was also recorded by Bartók on the peasant flute. However, it has a more somber feeling, emphasized by the interval of the augmented second. The dance from Buxom is the only movement in 3/4 time. It's gentle and quiet and reflective. Next is a happy and fun-filled Romanian polka, which alternates between 2/4 and 3/4 meetings, giving an uneasy sense of dizziness and maybe even drunkenness. The final 2 dances, both named Marontel, meaning fast dance, are energetic and symbolic of his experiences in Transylvania. In keeping with the folk music of Frank and Bartók, I decided to conclude this program with 20th century Argentine composer Astor Piazzolla's Oblivion. Known as the Duke Ellington of Argentina, Piazzolla expressed himself through the very exotic and sensual tango of his native land and took them to a new level. The tango is much more than a dance. It expresses what Argentina has gone through as a country. The tango is the soul of Argentina. Oblivion is mesmerizing, passionate, and nostalgic. And in Piazzolla's inventive mind, it expresses a depth of emotion in unique and subtle ways. And not only is this piece a fitting end and tribute to folk music, but Piazzolla's favorite composer was Johann Sebastian Bach, who of course wrote the opening piece on this program. That's it for today's DMSO listening. Go to our website, dmsymphony.org, where you can find video links to the music I just spoke about right after this video. You'll also find some more content in our #DMSO at Home series, featuring self-produced videos by our musicians from their homes to yours. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you will all tune in on Thursday, October 1 at 7 p.m. for this historic milestone in the Des Moines Symphony's history, our very first live stream concert, live from the Temple for the Performing Arts. Thanks for watching.